the station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Freedom Chat, where real Americans speak their minds. And no topic is off limits. No scripts, no judgment, just honest conversation, raw, unfiltered, and free. If you're ready to challenge the narrative and celebrate true freedom, you're in the right place. This is Freedom Chat.
Good morning, everybody. Now, we may have a couple of guests other than the three of us. I invited Hal Van Herky on, and I invited Keith Hoover. Gabrielle is going to watch the show, but she's not going to be on. She's got voice issues right now. Let's talk about affordability, and let's go ahead and squash affordability. Affordability has become this hot button word. And in all honesty, affordability and the concerns of affordability have been around for, as long as I've been alive. I know that my mom, she bought me a trumpet back in the 80s, the early 80s. And, you don't realize how much went into things like that when you're young. In your eyes, it's a brand new horn. It was actually a used horn. It's still a great horn. I just gave it a bath over the holidays, and it's much happier. But, she bought it secondhand. I think, what would you do, Mom? Finance it at $800?
Probably. No, we paid it off at the...
Yeah. So she financed...
I don't remember how much it was, but we paid it off X amount of, just like we did the piano, paid it off a little at a time.
And so the point that I'm making, and I'm sure people that are watching are going, well, okay, Mark, what's your point? Well, my point is affordability has been an issue forever. We know that Mamdani, in his infinite wisdom, and it was actually pretty smart move for Mamdani to use that as a campaign promise. Oh, by the way, that they're looking at recalling him already.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Because the people in New York wanted nothing to do with socialism, and they didn't realize that this guy was pretty damn serious about being a socialist. So now they're looking at recalling his backside, which is good. It's what needed to happen, to be honest with you. It's what needed to happen. I hope he gets recalled. I hope that the city saves itself. I really do.
How long it took
because people who
he started charging, raised the bus and subway fee to $3.
Yeah, this is after promising.
Make it all...
This is after promising free.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, ain't that crazy? Hey, it's going to be free transportation for everybody except the people who have to pay to get on the train.
Right, exactly.
So I don't know, Dennis, you know this, and Mom, I know you know this. The the GDP, the gross domestic product, actually went up, which means that our nation's value is higher. Employment went down again. What else happened? Prices on gasoline are down. I'm starting to notice that prices are coming down in the grocery stores. What's the point of this part of the conversation, though? Mom, what do you think about affordability?
I just figured all along that it's you stay within how much you can afford to pay. That's affordability. Affordability is not deciding that your starter house is a $500,000 house that is got 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and blah, 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 because everybody else has one like that, which they don't. But That's the story they're told.
Right.
Affordability
Right.
is doing what we did, which is going by way of the GI Bill and getting exactly
That's what
what
we
we
did.
could manage to afford. Was it a nice house?
Well, that's what.
It depended upon your point of view, didn't it?
Right. Well, I
On
mean,
my
and
point
look,
of view, it was
I
perfectly nice. I wasn't too
right
thrilled.
now. Here's what's funny about this: is it's
Go ahead.
here's what's funny about the affordability issue is the Democrat Party actually thinks that affordability is going to be the hot button that is going to give them control of the House and the Senate. Well, as the economy has continued to improve, and duly noted, it isn't improving like at the speed of light. But for those of us who are actually adults and are not impulsive like 2-year-olds, we kind of figured that was going to happen. Well, I mean, at least I figured it wasn't going to take. I figured it was going to take some time before the results of what the president has been trying to do take effect. So when I've heard, well, there's no affordability or there's no this or there's no that, I'm sitting there going, what are you, 4 years old? Because a 4-year-old will say, I want my car and I want it now. Or, hey, I want that cookie, but I want it now. Right? That's what a child does. An adult says you have to, and this is, unrelated, but very relatable. I was watching the Elway documentary this morning. I didn't watch all of it, but one of the things that he talked about is he always believed that hard work was the way things got done. And he never went about doing things the easy way. So when you have people who have had a culture of working hard, and then you have a secondary culture that comes in of young people who have never had to work hard for anything in their lives. Thank God my daughter and my son are not those, because they do work hard for the things that they have. But there are way too many that want the benefits of their lives right now without question. And sadly enough, many of them are at voting age now. So when I watched this video of John Elway and he's talking about, I always believed that you had to work hard. And I always believed, because nothing came 100% easy, that things weren't supposed to come easy. So Dennis, I recommend you watch that. It's been good so far.
Is that on Netflix?
But yeah, it's on Netflix. But we are in a society. Go ahead, Mom.
You can bet that Tom Brady also felt that hard work is how you got where you wanted to go, because he didn't get to be the great quarterback he was by not working. And he works hard at it.
And
like him or not,
I think that there is I think there is an unrealistic expectation to fix things now. And Joel Hunt alluded to the fact that the president made all of these promises that the prices were going to come down on day one, and I believe that during his campaign he overpromised, and he didn't manage expectations. Although his rallies, he didn't manage expectations. However, when you did interviews with him, or you saw interviews with him, he told everybody, this is not going to be an overnight thing. This is going to take time. And, he actually spoke about that at the cabinet meeting. Was a Friday, where he basically alluded to the fact that, I'm having to fix 4 years of bad policy and horrible. Step further, the president's wrong. It wasn't 4 years of bad policy. It was 4 years of sabotage. And the thing is you cannot fix something. Okay, we've used the automobile analogy, right? The automobile analogy is, if I were to go to Dennis's car, Dennis, I'm using your car as an example. and I were to pour a bag of sugar into the gas tank, that's considered sabotage. Am I right or am I wrong on that?
Yep. You're
Okay.
right.
What happens to a sugar in the system? Mom?
When you put sugar in the gas tank?
Yeah. What happens when you pour sugar in a gas tank?
Oh, I can tell you what, we lost a car that way.
There you go.
You don't remember it.
An engine has a tendency to, but the point is that the engine has a tendency to blow up. So take a look at what happened from 2021 until 2025. The very first thing that Biden did, and I hate doing it this way, but I'm going to call things as they were, not as I would have liked them to be. But the very first thing he did, of the 100 executive orders that he signed, the first 50 of them, there was a large number that crippled our energy industry. And I mean crippled it. That's intentional. That's sabotage. So what if I go back to the car as the analogy, and Dennis now has a blown up car because Mark, okay, so now we've got a car that is all jacked up, and what is it going to take to fix that car? Dennis, what would it take to fix that car?
Well, if you it's kind of like diesel fuel in your system. You know, it doesn't burn like gasoline does. It'll probably shut down your car before. It'll shut down your car before. Most of the time, it will shut down your car before it'll do a whole lot of damage. But the whole system will have to be cleaned out.
And how much time is that going to take? Is that going to be something that's going to take overnight, guys?
It's going to take a while.
You could do it in what, 3 weeks? Yeah, you take it to a shop and you're waiting for at least a month.
Probably.
Because they got to flush it, clean it, and they got to make sure it's clean, right?
Yep.
Well, our economy works exactly the same way. The damage that was done was not due to ineptitude and was not due to negligence. It was intentional.
Yep.
And it caused enough damage. Now, the fact that we're in as good a shape as we're in right now is a miracle. I mean, Mom, I don't know how you feel about that, but literally the fact that the United States is in the financial position that is in is a miracle that he did it in almost a year's time.
Mark,
like we're coming up on the first year. Yeah.
Do you know what you and I would be doing right now if Kamala Harris had been elected? You and I would be fighting in the streets with those people that voted him in.
We'd be on the street corner like the. Hey, Mom, I didn't get a chance to tell you this. There was a whole bunch of protesters on the corner of Parker and Havana, and boy, I'll tell you what, Justice for Good, GOOD, the woman who was shot on Wednesday, and all of them were your age. Mom, what did you do wrong?
They must have come from a different economic background than I did. I had to work for everything. Your dad and I worked for everything we had. And we came from really poor circumstances.
So here's where I make my next prediction. I already said this once, but I'll say it again, and I'll say it right now. The economy is recovering. It is getting better. It's getting stronger. There's still a lot of work to do, but I firmly see the gas prices down below $2 by May. And I see milk down under $2 by June. And that goes for the meat and all of the grocery prices. I see overall pricing going down. I mean, he's already trying to put a interest limit of 10% on all credit card and all banking. He's trying. Look, man, he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to get these people to do the right thing too. So, we're going to talk a little critically about the president here in a minute too. Dennis and I both have some opinions on some of the things that he's said. However, it is that time. It's cool time for a break. Man.
Oh, for real. Thank you, bro. You see the Cobra?
Man, what is this one?
Oh, this? That's my credo. No regrets.
You have no regrets?
Dad?
Nope.
Like not even a single letter?
No way. Not me.
Well, I love him. I think he's great.
Okay.
I think he's a real winner, Casey. If I were you, I wouldn't use protection.
Mom, I can't help it. I even got Mom to smile that time.
Love that credo.
That's
Got no regrets, Mom.
That's the way I look whenever I see these fools celebrating or protesting against ICE. I have that same look on my face as that guy does at the end.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about that, but first to prove a couple of points, we are going to be Dennis and I at least are going to be critical of the president. He talked about Greenland. Now, there's still a lot to do in Venezuela. There is violence in Venezuela right now against United States citizens. In fact, the State Department told all United States citizens to leave Venezuela. Why? Because there are enough criminal elements that were in bed with Maduro that they're going to have to weed out. And those people they're bad actors, but Venezuela is going to have to weed them out. That's not a United States issue. That said, if you're in Venezuela, get out. Don't stay. But his comments about Greenland, first of all, do I think that we need to incorporate Greenland? I see the strategic importance of having Greenland under control of NATO, United Nations. I think they're a part of NATO, but don't quote me on that, because aren't they technically under the umbrella of Denmark?
Yes.
That's what I understand, is that they're under the umbrella of Denmark.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, but
here's where
I don't think they're considered
right. And now look, it can be like
they're like
no, I don't think that they're independent. I think they're a part of Denmark now. Right, but they have the ability to vote where and who they want to align with. I mean, the whole 50,000, 500,000 people that live there. Here's what I do have in criticism of the president, when he said, we can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way. Well, what do you mean? You can't. I get why he says some of the things that he says, but he also oversteps at times when, I mean, quite frankly, saying something like that was not necessary. I don't know how you guys feel, but in my opinion, he didn't need to say that. He could have said, we're going to negotiate until we come to an agreement.
Well, to me,
it wouldn't have been anybody saying anything.
To me, it's borderline intimidating and threatening.
Right. And look, we already know what his MO is. That's not in question. Right. But at times there needs to be some temperance there. Now, granted, I don't regret voting for him. The policies that he's acting, especially domestically, are exactly what I voted for. And we're gonna get into that too, because what happened on Wednesday has triggered a lot of emotions for one. and a lot of opinions for two. And we're going to get into that because what happened was preventable, but what happened was also not. I'm sorry that there are probably people on here who don't agree with me, but when you see the video from the camera that the ICE agent was playing, and the reason that he was playing that video is because the lady who was shot, her wife, was just as antagonistic as she was, but the wife was on the outside, and that triggered the officer to break out his cameras so that people would know that they weren't being aggressive towards these two women. They were trying to get these women to comply and let them do their jobs. And we're going to talk about doing their job because I have some very strong opinions about all of it. And before I express my opinions, I'm going to turn it over to Dennis and then turn it over to Mom, or vice versa. So I'm going to let you guys do a little talking while I be quiet.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Go ahead, Phyllis. You go first. Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Ladies
Well, let's see. You probably don't really want to hear my opinion. From what I can tell, from the videos that I've seen, the wife, if you want to call it that, pretty much told the other gal, the one that was driving the car, to go, into pushing her into accelerating, which pushed her into slipping on the ice, the car slipping, which then either the woman was so stupid that she didn't know what she was doing and turned the wheels the wrong way, or deliberately turned the wheels towards the ICE agent. Considering how radicalized she had become, I would say she probably did it deliberately. Not even thinking, she was just doing what, I can get away with this because I'm me and they don't dare do anything to me. Well, unfortunately, if I was to run my car at a cop, I would expect him to shoot me. That's okay. That's just me. There you go.
Yeah,
Dennis,
you're
what's your
right.
take?
You're right. It's it's a 4,000-pound weapon basically, and if a cop feels threatened for his safety, he's going to use any means necessary to prevent that issue from injuring or taking his life. So it's pretty cut and dry.
Right.
There's really nothing hard about his decision making. I don't think. I would have done the same thing. Now, do I think he needed to shoot her in the head? I don't know about that, but definitely, that would have been my first reaction.
I don't. Right, and look, what he fired 4 times?
I don't know, something like that.
Point, it wasn't just self-defense; it was defense of those around.
Right.
But see, it wasn't just defending himself; he was also because when a person starts using a vehicle like it's a weapon, and I think it was a situation that got grossly out of control. I think that there's a deeper underlying issue at hand here, and it stems from the left media and the Democrat Party demonizing and vilifying anything that this administration is doing. And what I mean by that is, and look, we've beaten this dead horse, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get my baseball bat and I'm going to hit that horse again because this needs to be said. Every immigration law that the president has had the Department of Homeland Security and ICE execute and enforce has been law since 1996, 97, or 98 when Bill Clinton was in office. Bill Clinton was the president. Those are his laws signed. So it's not like the president is stepping outside of his area of authority. And it isn't like ICE or DHS are extending and outside of their authority. They're not being evil and they're not being fascist and they're not out of control. They're doing their jobs. Let's go and let's take a look. When you have 11 million people that you know came into this country, you have to work your butt off to move them back out of the country. Nobody is saying they need to go to prison. They just need to go back where they came from. And that's all we're saying. And for those people who are watching the show who say, well, why aren't we teaching them how to follow the laws? Well, I don't know why I should be teaching them to follow the laws. They've already shown that they don't care about following the laws of our country. They don't care that the border is there. They've come into the country. Hell, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands that Biden flew in that were not supposed to be here, but I know it was a lot. And then you don't vet these people, and then they become really bad. And then we're talking about, well, how do we treat people? I don't know. I try to treat people on a personal level as good as I can.
Hey, Mark.
But the flip side to that is, if you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. Go ahead, Dan.
Mark, okay. Now, first of all, you mentioned Biden flying these people in. Now, shouldn't that make the American people, the American taxpayer, angry just for that fact that we paid for that?
Well, it made me pretty angry at the time.
It would make me mad.
It didn't come out of his wallet. It didn't come out of his personal pocket. That was American taxpayer money
it came out.
He used to fly these people into our country illegally. I mean, that makes me angry.
Here's the other side to that. They came across the border. Now, until Trump came back into office, they would come into the country illegally. They would go straight into either INS or wherever, and they would be. I mean, look, there is documented proof that they were being set up in hotels. Why do you think that the state of Colorado is in as financial train wreck as it is? Because we've been forced to foot the bill as a quote unquote criminal state. Mm-hmm. And Denver is a criminal city. Because if you're not following the law, then this is what you get. I want to welcome Keith Hoover. Dennis, don't hold this against him. He's a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Oh, boy.
Hi, Keith.
All right. So, Keith, we were just talking about what was going on with ICE and the shooting that happened on Wednesday and all of these extenuating circumstances, so to speak. You have experience in some of this, right? You've got experience with either military law enforcement or having been in situations, right?
Just mostly security, but other than that, just
and you're
typical.
So what I was taught when I was in security is that your goal is to stop the threat. What is the various ways to legitimately stop the threat? And is there a situation where stopping the threat constitutes what happened Wednesday?
From what I could remember, like in that situation, he had the chance, multiple chances, just to stay out of her way and just let her by and nothing would have happened. But she chose to do what she did. He chose to do what he did, and we ended up with, sorry for the foul, but we ended up with this whole shit show.
And it is. Well, I mean, and here's the sad part. This has been going on now since essentially January of last year, with these protests. Actually, it started in May and June in Los Angeles. And the greater issue at hand here, what happened in Minneapolis, the greater issue at hand here is the vilification of these ICE agents in the execution of their jobs. That's, I think, what is frustrating for me, is that they've been vilified by American people because they've been told that they're villains. I mean, the American people have. I know you're aware, Keith, because I see a lot of your posts, and I actually click the like button on a lot of your posts, so I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. You sit there and you hear, they equate these people to being fascists, and they're common criminals, and the only thing that they are doing is creating chaos, and they're making people disappear. And I'm like, well, what people are they making disappear? Are they people that should have been here in the first place? That's always the question that I ask right off the bat.
I agree with that part.
I mean, most of
it's
yeah. I mean, and you go ahead.
It's kind of hard to really wrap your mind around it a lot of times.
It really is.
Because I'm like,
I
see stupidity on both sides, and it's just sad that we actually have stooped this low as a country. So where we're believing like social media, like people are believing social media and everything else, and come on, really?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I watched I was actually out yesterday off of Havana and Parker Road, and there was a good 75 people out there with their signs, and a lot of them were my mom's age. And all I'm thinking to myself is, at what point did you stop? At what point did you stop actually paying attention to real news, instead of listening to these people basically hammer a set narrative again and again and again? I mean, I always thought of my mom's generation as being smart and, being aware and at least aware of aware. I mean, my mom has never been unaware. That's the thing, is my mom's never been like that. And I just don't understand how people of my mom's generation, I can't believe they, pardon my French, I can't believe they believe the bullshit.
Exactly.
Mom?
Well, you just don't understand how they thought, because they're probably 10 years younger than me, maybe 20, maybe 15. And they were a part of the hippie group, the first free lovers.
Well, okay. And
who grabbed the pill and ran with it and decided that abortion was okay and the whole 9 yards. And that's the subset that you see standing there. It's not the working people my age, because we didn't have time to play with that crap.
And there's another thing. So there's another thing, and I want to ask you guys if you agree with me. I was raised on Tom Brokaw before he proved to be untrustworthy. I remember videos of Walter Cronkite, and I remember the videos of the real news guys and the real news, the early news women, where they were legitimate reporting the news, and there wasn't a narrative engaged in there also. And I think that we as a society got used to simply taking them at their word because they were reporting the news. So somewhere in the line, now please tell me if you think I'm wrong, but somewhere between that era and our current era, we're still taking them at their word, but their word is no longer true. Am I right about this, or am I wrong about this?
Well, you see, because you got like Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and all those mainstream media, they're only worried about one thing: is viewers. Viewers, like, more viewers means more money in their pockets, so they have to fit some type of agenda, and they'll misconstrue anything that comes across their desk just to meet that agenda.
Right.
And I look at it this way.
Right. Now, I will say this: Fox is far less than the others because they seem to be a lot more level-headed. But Mom, go ahead.
What I see is the early news people were not entertainers. They were news people. They reported the news. They weren't always accurate, and they always had an agenda because everybody's got an agenda. But what you see now is people who say they're news people, and they are not news people. They are, in effect, an actor for their ratings.
Dennis, what's your take on this? Where do you stand on this, D?
Yeah, well, like Phyllis just said, they're actors. They're paid actors.
Paid.
They're actually not. I'd say a majority of them, not all of them, but majority of them are not really caring what they're reading or what they're repeating. They're just there to collect a paycheck from the highest bidder.
Now, here's where it gets kind of sticky. We're gonna go on a quick break. Keith, you're gonna love my breaks. My breaks are funny. So here we go with a break.
What happened to you? Ruben, I'm in a situation here. We have to leave now. Well, no, can we stay a couple more minutes? But dude, no, this is serious. I just sharted. I don't know what that means. I tried to fart and a little shit came out. I just sharted. Okay, let's go.
There's a car behind us.
All right. So
well, that first one seemed like a really shitty situation.
Very true. No, we do two breaks every show, and it's always the same breaks because I like to laugh, and they're the only two that are funny. There's a lot of music in these. Some of these breaks got songs, but the songs always seem to take too long, and we have so much to cover because we've got an hour to cover over a week. And I do set this stuff up as a show, but here's the thing about our show. For those of you who are watching, our show is dependent upon current events. Current events happen to drive everything that we do. It's been this way since day one, right, Dennis? We basically
yep.
We basically ran it, and look, here's the thing. I have things that I want to do an entire episode on slavery, the history of slavery. And the sad part is every time I get something set up, the world throws something at us that we need to talk about. And right now, what we need to talk about is the division. And here's what most people aren't talking about, right? The people who are screaming about this woman's death and what happened to her, a lot of these people are the same people who were literally dancing in the streets when Charlie Kirk was murdered. And you didn't hear any of these very same people screaming about, we need to treat each other better. Well, you're right. We need to treat each other better. But that also means that when a young lady is murdered on a train, you should be speaking out about it, because you can't pick and choose when you're going to treat each other right. I mean, you can, because they do. And I think as a society, we've got this really bad situation where people want to pick and choose what they're going to be bent out of shape about. They want to pick and choose what they decide is treating people right and treating people nice and being good to each other. I kind of want to know where you guys stand on this, because what I see is stark hypocrisy.
Oh, big time.
Definitely.
Yeah, totally.
And the thing is that now this is my opinion, all right? And I know my opinion is probably worth about, I don't know, maybe 5 cents. What you guys say about 5 pennies? Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate that, Keith. But my opinion is, if we truly believe that you treat people as you want to be treated, that doesn't mean that you pick and choose who you're going to celebrate, or who you're going to, we need to remember her name. Well, you know what? We need to remember Charlie Kirk's name. We need to remember the Lincoln Riley's name. It's to me, it's a universal thing.
Ashley Babbitt, can't forget her.
Ashley Babbitt, right? If you're going to call it, then you need to call it. And it shouldn't be pick and choose. Oh, well, she was on my ideological side, so that's why I want people to really remember her name. I don't care what ideological side we're on. I'll even go as far as to say, I don't care what Ashley Babbitt's side was. I don't care what Lincoln Riley was a damn student. The young lady that was killed on the train was a student. Did they ask? Did they have an agenda? Were they out there actively doing any of this stuff? No, they weren't. But they were murdered for no reason. None. No justification, period. So when I see what happened at this, I mean, this set of circumstances that happened Wednesday, and here's the context that the side that is showing outrage is not wanting to talk about. That woman and her wife had been confronting those ICE agents all day long. This was the culmination of a string of events that was A, completely unavoidable, and B, completely unnecessary. Because honestly, hey, Keith, can I ask you a question? Because I if I'm not mistaken, you chase storms, right? Tornadoes and stuff. If you were to come across an authority figure and they told you that you needed to back off, would you just back off a little bit and let the authority figures do what they need to do?
Although usually I'm there before them, but yeah, I would.
See, that's kind of my point. This alludes to what I'm getting at with this set of circumstances. Ashley Babbitt, honestly, the dude who shot Ashley Babbitt had no reason whatsoever to draw his pistol. I mean,
he was a straight up fucking coward.
Yeah, and so when you stop and you realize that was a situation. Now, granted, that whole day turned chaotic, but it wasn't an insurrection and it wasn't an attempt to overthrow the government like the left likes to constantly say, even today. And for those of you who still believe that it was, I highly recommend you go into your history books, because you really don't have the foggiest idea what you're talking about. And I don't have a problem telling you that. I really don't. But what happened Wednesday was preventable. It was preventable more on her side than it was his. He was doing his job. She was there because she wanted to be there. That at the end of the day is the end of the day. Mom, I kind of want to know what Fox News has been saying. I know I heard Clay and Travis, Clay Buck and Clay Travis and Buck Sexton talked about it, and honestly, Buck Sexton said he's got law enforcement training. He's like, it was a good shoot. I mean, she did hit him. She did accelerate into him. He had every right to do what he did. Mom, what is Fox News saying about this?
Mostly they just showed the videos and said, this is how it looks, and this is what, we have to wait for the final analysis, but it looks like she accelerated into him or was planning on it. And it looked to me,
Dennis, are you?
Go
ahead, Mom.
Last night, that's not what they were talking about. So
being as I don't watch a lot of that news, what else were they talking about?
Well, last night I watched Levin, and he had retired general on, Mark Kelly.
Which one?
I do believe that's the one. And he had him on for the whole show. And it was really quite interesting. He was talking about all sorts of the military stuff that was going on various places and giving it from the general's point of view. I'm not saying everything is accurate. I'm saying you're getting a point of view you don't get anywhere else. You don't hear.
But was it Mark Kelly that was, Mom, was it Mark Kelly that he was talking to?
They what?
Because I don't necessarily, if it was Mark Kelly was the general that tried to do a back channel deal with China. Was it a different general, or was it?
You're not. Yeah, I could have the name of the general wrong. That was the name that came to mind, but that doesn't mean it was the right name.
Well, we know Mark Kelly and what his game was. So I mean that goes without saying. Dennis, what are you seeing in Parker? Because like I said, they were on Parker Road in Havana, and I don't know, are they planning to continue these moronic events today that you know of? Because I
don't know.
I didn't even know they were there until I touched them.
In Parker, I don't think so. The only time I saw anything like that was a pro Charlie Kirk thing, went right after he was assassinated, and there was like a whole group of people pro Charlie on one side of the street and like one guy holding a sign on the other side of the street. I'm surprised nobody ran him over. And because believe me, I was tempted. Yeah, I was tempted, but that's the only time I've really seen anybody in Parker doing
there was
that.
something going on downtown last night. They had the last thing on the news that I watched on Channel 31 they were showing cops with big with very very imposing weapons, let's say. I know that one cop had a .45 pistol on his waist, and they were around the Capitol, and I don't know what it was all about, and they didn't know what it was all about, and there was a whole bunch of cops there down by the Capitol.
So Keith, you're in
plus there
Keith,
were
you're
some.
in Kansas, right?
Yeah, I'm in Kansas for now.
So what are you hearing in Kansas? We're going to get back to what's going on in Denver, Mom, but I want to know what's going on in other states.
Right now, they're just covering the idiocy from all the other states. That's about it. Because like here, like during that whole Summer of Love situation, they tried to.
Yeah, we remember that.
Here in Topeka, they tried to do that, but law enforcement shut them down quicker than shit through a goose on X-lax. They probably were able to bust out like
glorious.
One. Yeah, they're like about they were like able to bust out like one window. That was it. And they
small miracle.
Oh yeah.
What state are you in?
I'm in Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah, I'll be moving back to.
So, Mom.
I'll be moving back like October at the latest.
To Colorado?
With my fiance. Yep.
You move. Okay. So the reason that I'm asking these questions is like, you know, when they announced that they had gotten Maduro, the protests that had happened that literally within hours of the news breaking out, they were professional prints. The signs were professionally done. I will give these protesters that were on the corner of Havana and Parker Road yesterday. Most of their signs were handmade. I think that there were some spelling issues with some of them, so I'm not willing to say that they were the most educated individuals that were all out there standing around. A lot of them were flying American flags. There were a couple of upside down American flags. I kind of look at people like that and say, you know, okay, and we're going to close this thing out in about 9 minutes. I want to ask everybody on the panel, do you still have a right to express your opinions? I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. Mom, are your rights to free speech either diminished or taken? Have they been taken away from you?
Not yet. Democrats aren't in charge.
Dennis?
My rights to free speech, I still have them, but they are diminished. They're slightly diminished. Yeah, they're slightly diminished, I would say.
Okay,
Facebook.
But are they diminished by the government?
No. No, not at all.
Okay. Keith, what about you? You can still express yourself, right?
No.
Okay. Do we have the right to protest still?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and we if we wanted to, we could organize
what the other side doesn't realize, you know, they want to say, oh, you got, you know, freedom of to protest. Yeah, you got freedom to protest. But they fail to realize that in the Constitution, it says to peacefully assemble, otherwise protest. They leave the peaceful out.
Right. To express your grievances. That's what the Constitution literally reads. Well said, Keith. The point that I'm making is there was a post yesterday that I ended up back and forth with a lady because she talked about this woman good and talked about how this administration is taking away all of our rights. And the very first question that I asked her was how. I didn't even say anything else. I just said how. How are your rights being taken away? Let's ask. I mean, there's people out there watching. How have your rights been taken away? Have any of you guys been collected for standing out on a street corner with a sign that says ICE must go, stop ICE? Because I can tell you right now, there were no cops anywhere near that group that I drove by. So there was nobody that was enforcing the silencing of voices. The point that I'm trying to make here for those of you guys who served our country, who defended the right for us to do that, there is something going on in a nation that is halfway around the world right now. That nation is called Iran, or as we should call it, Persia. And what is happening right now is amazing and heartbreaking at the same time. The last report that I read, the in Tehran, at least Tehran, as far as I know, there were 120 deaths of protesters from the Iranian, the Tehran police, because they are trying to squash this thing. What I can tell you is also what I know and understand, and I'm not going to say definitively that this is happening, but the Ayatollah is, if they keep the pressure the way they've got the pressure right now, he could be in Russia within the next week, and Iran will fall, and that horrible regime will be ousted. The reason I'm bringing that up is we in this country, we can express ourselves. I went on the other day and I expressed myself at length about immigration and my opinions on it, and my opinion on, we talk about treating each other nice and treating each other right, but we also have to understand we can't be empathetic. We have to be sympathetic and compassionate. Empathy is, I've walked a mile in your moccasins. I've not walked a mile in Keith's moccasins, so I don't know what it means to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan. This is just an example. I don't know what it means to be a grandmother. I don't know. I can't walk a mile in that. I can't be empathetic because I've not been there. Empathy is a shared experience, and hey, I know how you feel, brother. Now, I've been in the military. Keith and I have an empathetic side to each other because we've both served. And I keep trying to educate these people without calling them idiots, but it's real hard because people are like, we need to understand, we need to walk a mile. No, we don't have to walk a mile in their shoes. I don't have to walk a mile in anybody's shoes. I have to walk a mile in my shoes. And while I'm walking that mile in my shoes, I have to treat people decently as I can. So, what we have in this country is the ability to stand out on the corner of Parker and Havana. I'll keep bringing that up because honestly, they saw my car. My car is a big American flag on the side of my car. And they were all looking at me going, hey, look at him. And I'm going, I don't agree with you people at all. I think you all are stupid. I don't think you know why you're protesting unless you're getting paid. And then I know exactly why you're protesting. So at the end of the day, we in this country take it for granted what our country has as far as liberties is concerned. And we're going to close this out. I want to know how you guys feel about that, because it is a source of frustration that our liberties are taken for granted. Start with Mom.
Yeah, well, I think we take it for granted, and unfortunately, that's probably an easy slope to go down into where Britain is now, where they can even go after you if you make an email from, say, Colorado to somebody in Britain, and you're a Brit. Whenever you get back over there, they'll say, hey, you're going to jail because you made this email. I just got through reading a thing on a Russian USSR. He was a soldier and actually a high-ranking officer in the USSR who made the mistake of writing the wrong thing in a letter that he didn't realize was going to be read by the wrong people, and he ended up spending the rest of his quite a few years of his life in one gulag after another in Russia. They stripped him of all of his medals, everything, and threw him in prison. And when he got out, finally, he wrote a book about it, about his realization that communism is not friendly. Let's just say. Anyway, it was a very good article.
Utopia is not utopia, right? Keith?
Yeah, not utopia.
We're going to do Keith last.
Name, but I can't.
Dennis, we're going to do Dennis first. Dennis is my co-host. Dennis and I started this damn show, so Keith gets to be last.
Oh, hey, I don't care. I'm just here for the party.
No, do you think that the people of this country take for granted the freedoms and liberties that we've literally enjoyed for 250 years?
The ones that are out there protesting over stuff that they don't understand, yeah, that's definitely being taken for granted. They weren't part of the Revolutionary War. They probably never even studied it, a lot of them. The Civil War, the first one, I should say.
We're not jumping through hoops to have a second, all right?
Well, 2.0 is looming. That's all I can say. And I hope not. I don't want to see that. Don't get me wrong. Right. I don't want to see that.
Right.
I never got to serve in the military. I wish I could have, but for medical reasons, I wasn't allowed to. But so thank you both for your service. Let me say that. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are taking this for granted. They're starting to become more less frightened. I don't want to say frightened. That's not the right word. They're starting to become less worried about their own safety. And in defending things that they don't understand or even really probably care about. They're just doing it because they've been told to not like Trump. That's it. It doesn't even matter. What's the latest thing we're going to, protest about today? That's all it is.
Right. Keith, I want to thank you for coming on, and you get to close the show out, and then we'll say our goodbyes until next week. So what is your opinion on that question? Are we as citizens, or are citizens taking for granted the freedoms and liberties that we've had for 250 years?
Well, with knowing that you've done sea duty, I've done sea duty, we've obviously been to other places in the world. I do agree people nowadays take our freedoms, liberties, and all that for granted. They take it with like a grain of salt, like, oh boy, you get some of those idiots that want to go to other countries, think that, oh, I'm an American citizen, and they're lost on the pipe. That's another story.
Right. I agree with you on that.
But, for the other side to be sitting there saying, gays for Palestine and how much better of life they'd have there. Yeah, we all know what kind of life they would have there. As they're doing a beautiful swan dive.
Right. Yeah.
But all in all, yes, the other side is, or like just people that don't understand, like other countries, they take our liberties and freedoms for granted.
Yeah, I definitely believe that they do. And, the sad part is unless they actually leave this nation, they're never going to truly appreciate the freedoms and liberties that we have. And that's kind of a sad thing. I think that if our nation appreciated what our founders did and what our founders risked so that we could have our freedoms and liberties, I think that they would be a lot more temperate in their behaviors. I really do. I've been posting pictures of my flags. I hope you guys saw my Bennington flag. And Mom, I took your advice and I put a whole information packet about the Bennington flag because I think you're right. I think people look at the flags that I fly and they don't know what they are and they don't know what they mean. Well, look, we're celebrating our 250th birthday, and if we don't start loving our country again, we're not going to have a country in about 5 to 10 years. Keith, I think I'm pretty accurate in that assessment. If we don't start loving our history again, we're definitely not going to be a nation anymore. So, I'm going to keep posting these videos and these information about these flags, because I really think that the flags represent what we are and what we were. So that's going to keep going on. The Bennington flag is cool as hell, man. That flag is so radical. Got that big 76 in the middle of it. It's glorious. All right, guys. We will see you guys next week. I will have the episode after I talk with Dennis and my mom. Keith, you're welcome to come on. I will send you a link. You don't have to come on if you don't want, but I appreciate you coming on. Your input and your insight is very well valued. And I just want you to know that.
Yeah, it was cool.
We're going to get back into it. And and look, I'm going to try to set what the episode's going to be about. However, we do live in a bizarro world. So
that's
who the hell knows what's going to happen next? Right? I mean, Trump can negotiate the purchase of Greenland in the next 48 hours, and then where are we going to be?
Then we can talk about the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl next.
There you go.
No, at least not for a year. Thank you very much for that, Keith. Just enjoy the sidelines for a year.
Let the orange and blue have one at least.
Hey, we have to stay humble.
Yes. Oh, hey, don't we all? All right, guys. God bless you all. God bless the United States of America. Have a great rest of your day and have a great rest of your weekend.
Godspeed, everybody.
Yep. Have a good day.
You too.
Peace.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.us.